Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are going to be working with a comprehension passage titled Taxation. But before we go into that, I want us to take note of some things. Understanding the series of questions and what tests on a given comprehension passage has a long way to go in providing accurate answers. You have to understand the nature of a certain question before going ahead to attempt it. Here are types of questions usually found on comprehension passage. Questions on main ideas. Number 1. These questions test your understanding of the main ideas expressed by the writer. They test your ability to differentiate between major ideas and details which merely illustrate them. Number 2. Identifying purposes. When a question starts with why, the point is to make you identify the purpose behind the action. Number 3. Questions on implied meanings. Questions on implied meanings are framed such that you are made to identify the implications of a particular statement or situation in the text. The strategy that is most useful for answering this type of question is inferring. Number 4. Questions on the supply of details. Questions requiring the supply of specific information or a set of information are meant to test your knowledge of details. Number 5 is vocabulary questions. Vocabulary questions. These are questions that ask you to supply the meanings of a word. They are questions that ask you to supply the meanings of a word or to give another word which means the same thing or which is opposite in meaning. If you are asked to replace a word with another word or phrase, a dictionary might be helpful. But since dictionaries are not allowed in examination halls, 2 of the following strategies are recommended. One of it is context clues. Context clues. This is the use of information derived from the surrounding words to determine a word's meaning. You may never have come across a word, but when you say a word for the first time, when you check the surrounding words where you find this word, it's possible you quickly get what the meaning could be. To use context clues, you should concentrate on the larger expression, as I just said now, to see what other words reveal about the target word. That is, the very word we are told to find or replace with a word, with another word or phrase. Another is the structural analysis. Structural analysis. This involves the breaking down of a word into its roots. It is easier to use structural analysis to deduce the meaning of words in the word as if the word has common affixes. Structural analysis. This involves the breaking down of a word into its roots. It is easier to use structural analysis to deduce the meaning of words if the word has common affixes. For instance, now you may see a word like, for instance, now let's assume you are familiar with a word, with the word community, but you are saying the word commune for the first time. So from your knowledge of community, you would know that commune, since community has to do with area of people or an area where people are living together. So commune, the meaning could then flash to you that this has to be a group of people. It has to mean a group of people living together also. So it means that these two words belong to the same family, community. So you've done the structural analysis in this respect. So through this, you can easily get the right word or the right phrase to replace the very ones you've been told to work with. It also involves you determining the parts of speech, the part of speech which the word you've been given falls, because it has to fit in wherever you are told to, wherever the word taken for you to replace is being taken from. The word you are to fix in there has to bear the same, it has to bear the same part of speech. If the word, for instance, now is a verb, you must supply a verb also that must be able to carry the weight of that word you've been told to replace. So that's the case of structural analysis. So with this, coupled with all we've been discussing on comprehension so far, you should be able to do this little exercise. You have to open your NUSEC textbook to page 212. Read the comprehension passage titled Taxation and answer the questions that follow on page 213. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.